Hello, everyone. This is Tom Fox. I'm the Compliance Evangelist, and I'd like to welcome you to a new series I am doing on behalf of the Ethics and Compliance Initiative, or ECI. In this series, I'm going to focus on speakers at Impact 2019, the Ultimate Ethics and Compliance Benchmarking event, which will be held in Dallas, Texas from April 30th to May 2, 2019. Impact 2019 is not simply a conference. It's an event. So when was the last time you came back with an event with actual measures of maturity of your ethics and compliance program, reliable benchmarks of progress your organization has made compared to its industry peers? What about ideas from best practices specifically related to the areas you are hoping to improve? Impact 2019 will allow you to do that and much more. Every organization in attendance will receive access to ECI's revolutionary high-quality program assessment tool. Take the assessment tool before you attend or complete it on site. The results will give you never-before-seen insights into the way your ethics and compliance program functions. Then, through a series of keynotes and small group benchmarking sessions, we will provide industry comparisons contextualizing the benchmarks and defining what they mean for your program and your organization and discussing practical strategies. This event is destined to be a must-attend event, and I would certainly urge you to consider attending as well. I'm going to link to registration information in the show notes, so I hope you will plan to join me at Impact 2019. Today I visit with keynote speaker Sam Silverstein. His speech is entitled Inspiring Accountability at Every Level. Sam is a professional speaker, but more interestingly for the compliance professional, and I think why it's important for you to hear his speech at Impact 2019, is he talks about accountability as a key component in your organization. He takes it at a different angle than, frankly, I have heard, and I think it's something that every compliance practitioner needs to hear. I hope you will enjoy this podcast, and I hope you will join me at Impact 2019. Hello, everyone. This is Tom Fox, back for another episode, previewing Impact 2019 speakers. And today I have with me Sam Silverstein. Sam is the founder and CEO of Sam Silverstein Enterprises. But that doesn't begin to really even touch upon what Sam is about and what he's going to bring to the event. So, Sam, first of all, thank you for taking the time to visit with me today, and welcome to the podcast.
Oh, Tom, it's an honor to be here. I appreciate it, and I'm looking forward to being involved.
Sam, your keynote speech is entitled Inspiring Accountability at Every Level, and I went to your website, and frankly, if there's one word that I could associate with your website, it's accountability. So I was wondering if you just might start telling us a little bit about your views on accountability.
Well, Tom, I look at accountability probably different than most people do. And I've discovered over the years that the reason we have a problem with accountability is that we collectively don't understand what it is. And that we interchangeably use the word responsibility and accountability, and in fact, they're two different things. We're responsible for things, but we're accountable to people. Accountability always involves a relationship. There's always another person. And so I define accountability as keeping your commitments to people. It's that simple, keeping your commitments to people. And so that report's not going to hold you accountable, but you will hold me accountable, or as I like to say and teach, if you're a great leader, if you're an accountable leader, you will actually help me be accountable. And that's a different relationship between you and me, because if you're helping me be accountable, then we have a co-working relationship. If you're holding me accountable, it's adversarial. And long term, that'll never work out.
So, Sam, as you know, in the compliance realm, we do use the term accountability and responsibility probably far too interchangeably. Nevertheless, both are important parts of a best practices compliance program. How do you help companies understand driving accountability down through an organization?
Well, here's the thing. At the end of the day, really what we want is we want to get it done. We want to make sure that we are in compliance. We want to make sure that we're doing what we're supposed to be doing, that we're living by the rules, the regulations, the policies, and hopefully the values of the organization. And so if that's truly what we want, then we have to step back and look at what causes that. So really, accountability, for so often, everything we've been taught, I believe, is wrong. Accountability isn't about leaders manipulating their people to do more. Accountability is about leaders creating an environment, a culture that actually inspires their people to want to be accountable and to want to be their best. And what I've seen through my case studies and through the clients that I've worked with is that the companies that are incredibly high in accountability are those where the leaders have actually created that environment where the people choose to be accountable. They want to be accountable. And then that starts showing up at every level of the organization. And that's the key. You want it flowing all through the organization.
It sounds like it flows both upward and downward and maybe even sideward, if I can use that word.
Well, we can make up words. That's okay. I don't have a problem with that. Yes, exactly. And so here's the thing. When in an organization, you have the opportunity to create impact and influence through your values on your people, and you have the ability to create an environment where people are helping each other at all levels. Whether it's the CEO helping an EVP or whether it's a production supervisor that's helping a frontline production person, it doesn't matter, or vice versa. It's like when we know how we do things here, when we want to operate at a higher standard, then what happens is that's where accountability starts showing up all over the place. I talked about accountability is keeping your commitments to people. And here's the key. We think it's all the tactical commitments. It's not the I'll show up at 10, I'll have the report done by noon. All that stuff, that's your job. You know what? If I report to you and I'm not showing up on time or getting the work done, quite frankly, assuming that you've trained me and you've prepared me and you've made sure that I have the right resources, you shouldn't allow me to stay in the organization. I should be allowed to go someplace else. The commitments, the real commitments that creates accountability in an organization are those commitments where people feel like their leaders have their back, where they feel like their leaders are committed to the truth, where they believe in their heart that the organization is committed to sound financial principles. It's these commitments most of the time that are unspoken that creates this environment where people want to do it right. And when they want to do it right, then compliance becomes something that is second nature.
If I could take a look at your accountability wheel, because you have two things near, I would say 11, perhaps 10 and 11 o'clock that I think are incredibly significant. And they are productivity and profitability. And I continually say that a best practices compliance program makes your company run more efficiently and at the end of the day, more profitably. And you seem to see that accountability leads directly to both productivity and profitability. Have I got that right?
Yeah, absolutely. And so what happens is accountability is an outflow from that culture and that organization that's set up a certain way. And when accountability is high, what happens is we find that everything on our accountability wheel is in abundance, whether we're talking about leadership or communication, teamwork, customer experience, change, creativity, innovation, safety, not physical safety, emotional safety, attraction and retention. I mean, today, low unemployment, we need to attract and keep the best. And then ultimately engagement, productivity, and then profitability. When the leader looks at profitability as the gauge of whether they're doing well, sometimes they really miss out. If they really have a high level of accountability, and we measure that. We have a tool called the Accountability Index, which is an assessment tool. If they have a high level of accountability and they're driving these other factors, then what we see is engagement is higher than they thought possible, productivity is higher than they imagined, and profitability in the end is going to be greater than they would have otherwise achieved.
Sam, do you find this message resonates with I hate to sound negative about lawyers, but since I am one, I will say it. Lawyers who tend to be, fairly conservative, particularly in the corporate environment, to the business operations people who may be open to other messages?
Well, here's what I know. I've worked with a lot of organizations, and the ones that are truly highly accountable achieve amazing results. And it's not that you need to be highly accountable to be profitable, but if you want to create a place that inspires your people and they're engaged and they love to work there and they want to suggest it to their friends and their neighbors, and then accountability has to be high. And lawyers are people. I'm sorry, whether you're a lawyer, whether you're a doctor, whether you're an accountant, whether you're a sales clerk down at Nordstrom, whether you're behind the counter at Chick-fil-A, we're all people. And the same, truth is truth. I don't care what your profession. And you can buy into what I teach or not. And that's fine. All I know is I see the results. My case studies show, where we've researched companies that are incredibly accountable, where their accountability is off the charts and their performance is unbelievable. And then we see other organizations, where accountability is lacking. And quite frankly, their profitability isn't as high as it could be. And, if people aren't engaged, if they're not happy, they're not staying, you're getting turnover, it only makes sense that you're going to have expenses and costs and things that you wouldn't otherwise have. So, yeah, I don't care whether you're an attorney or not. You can buy in or not. I know what I see in the real world, and I know what I see impacts the bottom line.
Well, Sam, unfortunately, we are near the end of our time for this podcast, but I am really looking forward to your keynote speech and, frankly, finding out more about accountability from your perspective. So thank you very much, and I look forward to seeing you at Impact 2019.
Can't wait to be there.
This is Tom Fox again. I hope you will plan to join me at Impact 2019. I've linked to registration and information on the event in the show notes. I hope you'll join me again when I have another Impact 2019 speaker preview in my next episode. Thanks again.